it's Mindy. I am back. I have something that I want to share with everyone that's interested. So, I am in my brand new stage of life. It's called empty nesting. But I like to put a positive spin on most things. So, what I'm calling my empty nesting era is successful bird launching era, meaning all of my kids have flown the nest and it's just my husband and I and our dogs at home now. It's quite weird, but my kids do come home quite a bit. So thankful for that. They don't live too far. They're all within like about an hour reach. So that's the only thing that comforts me, basically. um, But I've had this on my mind for a really long time. And now that I am an empty nester, I feel like it is time to take some action on what has been placed on my heart really years ago. I talked to my husband years ago about writing a book. I was like, we need to write a book, or I need to write a book. I wanted it to do with something to do with parenting. I didn't know if I wanted it to be like with a spin of parenting, but like in a teacher sort of view of things, because I've been both for more than a quarter of a century, a teacher and a mom. But I really started to narrow things down, and it's a fresh start of the next 90 days of my life, the last quarter of 2025. And I am very focused on starting. And I have started. I have an outline of the book, and I'm really excited. I want to really narrow down this focus to empty nesters, but honestly, I feel like that might be a future project because, when I started talking to my family about this idea that I had, they're like, you know, you're you're brand new to empty nesting, so like maybe you should just like stick to your parenting idea. So that's true. That is very true. So I'm going to stick to the parenting deal, but I knew I didn't want it to just be a general parenting book. I mean, there's thousands of those already. I really kind of wanted to narrow it down to a very, very focused part of parenting. Something that I feel like my husband and I did a pretty good job in doing is really creating and raising children to be their best selves, like to grow up and be fully confident in who they are, where they came from, what's important in this big, picture of life, and really creating and growing these little humans that we were responsible for into just very, they know who they are, you know? Because when you don't know who you are and you don't know where you came from or who you came from, and you're not parents that are truly authentically yourself, like how you really show up in this world, and you kind of put a front into like in front of your kids maybe, or in front of other people maybe, that doesn't create people knowing exactly who you are. And if you don't know exactly who you are as a person, it's very, very hard to raise children knowing exactly who they are. So I really do want to create this book, and I have my outline. I really want this to be something that is going to bless others as much as it has blessed me as I'm trying to create this book. And I'm hoping that it comes together exactly how I'm envisioning anyways. So I'm not exactly sure what my book title will be in the end. I do know that I want it to be raising children with a strong sense of self and why that's important in this world that we live in. Um, like they say, if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. And that's a huge mistake when you are turning out kids into this world. They need to know exactly what they stand for, exactly what their values are, exactly what's important. And it comes from the parents. The parents need to instill those things from them. It's not something that, I mean, they can discover it on their own, but it may take a very long time and they may make way more mistakes in life than they need to if they were just instilled with these things in the first place. And that's our job as parents. We are, you know, I can tell my kids when they left, and I remind them sometimes, like I am me, and I poured my entire heart and my soul into you. Like I have nothing left to give you. But I do, because I still have a lot of things that I want to make sure that they know and understand that a lot of the decisions that their dad and I made were very intentional. Like, at the time, maybe some certain things kind of seemed like ridiculous, or, oh my gosh, you guys are being helicopter parents, or whatever it was, right? As teenagers often will say. But it all, I think when they grow up, it's like they start to realize, like, it starts coming together for them. Like, oh, that's why mom and dad were so weird about this or whatever it is. It was intentional. We meant to do that. We were very much, even though we were very young parents, we're kind of very old souls. I know that for a fact. But we just had a strong focus on exactly the kind of family that we wanted to raise, and we put all our efforts into doing that. And now that they're grown, we're starting to see and enjoy all the fruits of our labor. Our kids are going off into the world, and they are being, the best versions of themselves. And so I kind of wanted to write a book about how to, kind of like a how to, I guess, a how to raise children with a strong sense of self, because that's what this world needs. We don't need lots of, teenagers, 20 somethings, 30 somethings for that matter, out there in the world, just not really knowing what they stand for, what they believe in. That's not good. That's not good for their families. It's not good for our communities. It's not good for our world. We need to have exactly what we believe in instilled in us and be able to stand on that. So anyways, to make this long story long, I am inviting you on this journey as I begin this book writing journey. I have big goals in the next 90 days. I have my outline, so I have a really good idea. So I really want to get a big bulk of the writing done before the end of 2025 and see where we can go from there. So I'm excited. And as I'm writing, I will be updating in this playlist so that you can follow along and hopefully get excited for my future book about raising strong, confident, strong sense of self children so that we can put those kids out in the world and they can just grow up and shine bright and lead this world, because we need some good, strong leaders. And that's what our job is. We're raising the next generation. So we got to do the best of it. All right. I'm just going to remind you here, in the end, the good and love always wins. All right. I'll see you next time. Join me.